I don't think it's the upside down chalice because I don't remember the chalice having these weird, almost like a oily look to it. So I don't know what item this is, but it's nice looking. Kind of hard to look at with the sun shining in it because it's very bright, but there you go. So then we come up onto the main part of the plot. Most of the rocks or the bases of the area is obsidian stone. Um, for the towers and a lot of the buildings, it's granite style uh, cylinders or tubes. For the roofs or these like little steeple bits, it's pillars, Draken spears. Some of it is recolored, I think. You see they changed it to like a funky green. A lot of windows and 2x4s for these little roofing bits. You see that here and here, like the little cone parts. Regular walls, there's some combinations of archways, especially here in these walls. You can see how they've layered the archways up quite a bit. Pillars for a lot of the supports and trim here. Most of them, I think, Draken style, because it looks like that stony um, granite or something. Decking pieces and railings for a lot of the pathways for the walking. Um Again, lots of pillars here. Same style as the house thingy over there. Here's a better look at one of those coned roofs. It's just 2x4s, just swirled up. And it looks like one of the oran fence posts to get that little acorn kind of top to it. Just mesmerizing to look at that smooth. That's one of the joys of Katya's Builder Toolkit. You could quickly make something like this and just repeat it however you needed. So made one and then they used it to cap this one and then made this one and used it to cap all these others. It's just awesome. Again, lots and lots of pillars. For the clock, I think it's a plate, uh, the Draken spears, but then the spear part is like stuck in so you just see the end. And then metal edged wooden blocks for the clock points numbers. So this is the main eating hall where the ceiling would like change up depending on the season, I guess. This is where they just have a lot of floating candles. I think these are to represent the different houses. Same way here. A little closer and you can see the actual lettering. Um, Again, that's one of those things with the sizes of items and how some render better at a distance. You can see the bananas really clear, but the 2x4 pieces, I think, kind of lose it a little bit. But you've got the bananas for the S and then 2x4s for the other letters. Color shifting to change up the orange floors. Here's where the teachers or instructors would sit. Books for the back side of the benches. For this little thing, oh my gosh, I don't know what all this is. I think it's just some Akari furniture. And then a curved wall for this little, where they would put the book, I guess. The sorting hat, they just recolored. I think it's called the, I don't remember, like magical creature hat or something. Like a gnome hat. It's actually red and they've just recolored it kind of a gray. Let's see. Over here, we have, you can't really get inside them, but there's all these like little towers and stuff. If I could figure out a way to get up higher, I could try and show you a little better, but you can kind of see the towers here. Again, just variety of windows, pillars, walls. Gonna fall into the water. I don't know if it's, you know, completely accurate as far as, you know, the placement of things. I think it's a little more squished up than the actual Hogwarts or whatever, but down in here, if I remember right, there's not a whole lot. We do have Hagrid's place here. I don't think you can go inside it. It's just a faux building. Like this is the back side of one of those critter, like beast bus or something. Like a, I don't know, onyx or something. Not onyx. Like the buffalo thing. A bottle top for the handle. Gray stone. Draken walls for this part. And then the roof, of course, matches the other ones that we saw prior. It looks like they're using a chimney, and then for the added effect of the smoke, it's probably one of the toxic barrels. Again, I don't have my sound on. You probably hear the bubbly noise of the barrel if I get close. It would have been cool if they could have added like buckbeak or something, but they didn't. But they did, I think, if I remember right, I think, what's its name? Aragog? Is that the name of that big spider thing? There is, where is that? Yeah, I think over here you see the spider eggs, and voila, got the giant spider. I think that's supposed to represent. I think it's named Aragog. I'm not sure. I've watched the movies and read the books and stuff, but I'm not good at retaining that information, so I'm not for sure. If you're wondering about the little hill, that's one of those Protostar Insta hills. It's the only way you can get a smooth bump like that. Hover part pieces for this little trenchway. I think it's supposed to represent them going down the hill, but they just decided to put the trench there. This part, I'm not sure what this was meant to be. Oops. Camera views. Not so great. And then last but not least, I think you have the dorm room area. Which you get to via this little area. But again, you can see little houses. And I don't know if these ones that's like floating, I don't know if those are supposed to be like they're floating on clouds. The little snowy clumps or whatever. I don't remember that in the thing, but I thought it was cute. You know, we see a lot of island kind of places, but I guess that's what that's supposed to be. I don't remember that. Anyway, again, it's really hard to get a good. Let me see if I can jump up here first. If you're wondering about the fountain is as is, and they've just added the water there. Let me see if I can hop up just to get a better. I think this is going to be too steep for me to climb. See how it looks like a floaty floaty thing. Let me try. Again, forgives on the awful jumping because I'm like the worst at it. It doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to get up there. If I can. No. Ugh. He's like on clouds. A little better view of the upper area. It's more like, a lot of it's like facade because, again, we can't actually access them, but I thought it was a fun kind of thing. I mean, we've seen a lot of builds that are representative of other games, books, movies, television shows. I guess they call it like pop culture references so that they're recognizable to those that are interested in those things. And Harry Potter is apparently one of them. So anyway, down the little rabbit hole here, it's mostly just curved glass, pillars for the staircase here, lots and lots of pillars, like an expensive staircase. Cylinders or domes for the flooring here. And then I guess this is a representative of that painting that they get into their room. They have to say the password or whatever. And so then you come into the actual Gryffindor dormitory area at their little hall area. Here's like a little cabinet made out of staircase landings and then hammers for the door. And then I think this is a medical table. It's just been kind of sandwiched in. Or like, I guess, a little mini fridge or something. Same way here. Framed glass being used in a way to make it look like a framing for the shield / pillow. Chains to kind of show that it's being hung up. They even went through the trouble of adding Merg dynamite for the little like hooks that the chains are attached to. A lot of people don't bother with those little details. We just stick it up in there and call it good. The chairs and little sectional here, it's mostly 2x4s with Chua pillows for the cushions. Again, we have that exile fireplace. We've seen it like 3 or 4 times now, and every time we see it, it's different. This one they've decked out with granite style triangle pieces and walls with a little bit of Draken pillars, and then the G for Gryffindor in 2x4 pieces. I like the double stack of the wood here. Just kind of out there. A little display case for the stone. Maybe it's the Philosopher's Stone for all I know. Just domes and curved glass. And then we here have a little bit of a painting style picture. More on the simplified side, but it's still cute. 2x4s, Draken floor, swirly stones, got a little mini bench, some orange fencing, little birdhouse, and the candle for mood lighting. And then, of course, the Hogwarts sign. Again, I think these are supposed to represent the colors of the houses. Using 2x4 for most of the letters, bananas for the S, and then the bowl edge for the O. For the bulletin board, again, Draken floor, 2x4s, and then lots of those little notes, discarded notes. I love this window here. Again, just lots of layered glass positioned in a way that it makes a very nice pattern. And again, the more frosted, the more layers that are involved. You can actually go up to a full-on opaque white, which I used for paintings, but you have to get up to like 23 or 24 layers of glass to get that effect. This here, I think, are uh, the uh, called the sparking wire. We've talked about that in the past. It's the same way as the regular hanging chain. There's no collision involved. So a lot of people like to use like the hanging chain, like a beaded curtain. They'll like layer a bunch up and you can still pass through it. And it's the same way with the sparking wires. They have absolutely no collision. It looks like a solid wall of something here, but you can actually pass through it. So it makes it nice for like little hidden rooms. This is the bathroom. Using obsidian stone for the trimming of the tub, a little bit of moss, a red moon vent, waterfall, and then bottle tops for the handles here. The cabinetry is wooden crates, staircase landings, hammers, it's like two of them sandwiched together, plates for the sinks, along with hammer and a bottle top. It's the same bottle top here for the bottle, it's just oversized. Same item, just used differently. Curved wall, and then the red moon light, which doesn't actually give off any light. For the toilets, they're using the Merg explosives for both the backside tank and the bowl. A stool so that make it look like you're actually sitting on the pot there, which is not necessarily a pleasant thing. A bowl for the lid, and then this bottle is the same bottle here. They've just got it turned around so you don't see the little sign, and it's oversized, so it looks like the back side of the tank there. Hammers, curved walls, fun little deal. Okay, so here, I guess, is the bedroom area. It's mostly pillars, the Cassian style, sleeping bags, recolored a little bit, and 2x4s for these little beds. 2x4s and two pillows for the seating. A faux door, just staircase landings and hammers. The refrigerators again, staircase landings, hover part pieces, medical tables, and the hammers. Hammers are a big fave for cabinetry because, again, they can be used equally well on solid and on glass. So it looks very uniform, and it wouldn't work the same if you use like the bottle tops here and then tried to use them here, because you'd see the bottom of the bottles out there. So the hammers are really good for that. Another fave is domes and the OSUN chain links, because those work well. Again, the sink is a plate, bottle top, and hammer. For the little squatty table, it's just a staircase landing and 2x4 blocks. I love the little hanging pot rack here. I can get a good shot of it. 2x4s, just crisscrossed, added some chains, and then dangled some pots and silverware from it. The little dining tables is basically that really tall, long-legged table, and they just pushed it down so you just see the very bottom of that top part, so you don't see the long legs. Makes for a nice deal. And then of course the rugs as the tabletop covers. Again, the bookcases that most of us like to trim up with 2x4s in this case. similar to the one we saw earlier. I guess this would be potions class or something. Got the, I don't know if that's a witch's brew or bubbling cauldron, one of those. Excuse me. I think these are typically purple, and they've turned them pink. Don't forget this little, I don't know what they call that, like a hutch, kitchen hutch. Awesome look to it. I like the slanty part with the 2x4s, and notice how they've kind of offset them a little bit. 2x4s for most of the back. Even the drawer itself is 2x4s, and they've opened this one so you can actually see the silverware and stuff inside it. And notice how they've got the little trim here as well. Oran floor, and then lots of glass for the shelves and this part as well. This would be great for like a restaurant bill. It's not just for personal kitchen kind of thing. I could see this being used also as a display case for collectibles, not necessarily just for kitchen area, or a display case for like foods, like at a restaurant kind of thing, or a trophy case, or a guild hall or something. And I don't know if this is supposed to be kind of reminiscent to Harry Potter's home, but there's like the little door under the stairs kind of thing. Okay, so let's go to the other side. And I presume this would be the, I guess, the girls' part. So there's more purple coloring going on. A little vanity table for them. Notice this one added a brush this time. It's basically, I think it's a spoon. Really hard to get in there to get a good look. A spoon with, I think it's one of these, the medical kit on top of it, and then some grass to make it look like brushy bristles. Same way this, we actually have a light up system like this on, I think it's a bar. And some people use that, but they've designed their own instead, just using a window with the bottle tops. They probably could have went even to the extent of actually using some kind of lighting to like brighten it up a little bit. But I think because this table is so shiny, the flat metal table, that it just looks like it's lit up. And I think that's it for the bunker house. And I believe that would mean that is it for the Harry Potter plot. But some awesome ideas. Again, there was so much used in the construction of this building that there really wasn't room for a whole lot of detail besides the few places that they hit, like the eating hall. I'm sure if the decor amount had been broadened or expanded, however you want to say it, I'm sure they would have added more things in. Like a bugbeak, like I said earlier, or a Quidditch field. I think we've actually seen a Quidditch field by another player in the past. I think it was for one of my custom-built decor challenges when we had a game theme going on. But I'm sure that's something that they would have loved added in this particular plot. I'm going to take a real quick run around the backside to make sure I didn't miss anything. Like, or is that like a little purposely left open cave thing? I don't think so. It's hard to tell sometimes on some of these builds whether they intend it to be visible or not. Starting to get scratchy. They could have like added, I forget the name of the instructor, but like there's the one with the like the greenhouse kind of thing where they do the mandrake stuff and all that. They could have had a little place where they practice their broom flight and using a bunch of mops and stuff like that to kind of represent there. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. But still a fun place to come visit if you can before it's all said and done. Excuse me. Okay, last place we're going to visit today is Drusilla. I can get this spelled right. Drusilla Luckless. This one comes from Crisea, I think is the main account name. They actually messaged me in game recently to mention that they had just finished putting this together and asked if I would be so kind as to include it in our streams. I believe they said that there's no access to an interior on this plot. They mainly focused on building up this kind of out in the middle nowhere island type of deal, and these weird rock formations in the distance, and they were very proud of how they did the water. Now you can't really tell when you're so close to the surface here, but if I get us up a little higher, I think you will guess what they're using. We've seen it in the past a few times, not very often because it's a tricky item to work with. Let's see if I can, oops. Can you tell what's being used? I know it's still a little tricky for some that aren't familiar with it or ever got to use the item or realize that it moves as it does, but I'm pretty confident that these are multiple cobwebs being used. Just due to the line work that's involved, I know that the cobwebs themselves kind of undulate due to, you know, the wind supposedly blowing on them. I don't know which one exactly. There's like several versions, but I'm pretty confident that that's what this is. And it's a clever use. Again, we've seen it a couple of times in the past, not on such a grand scale, I don't think. I've used it myself, but I didn't use it as water. I used it as mist for a Shades Eve plot. I kind of had it just kind of like waist high and made it look like it was really misty, and you get that weird kind of wavy look to it. And I thought it added, you know, because I wanted something kind of smoky, but I didn't want to like use a giant smoke item to represent that. And the cobweb was kind of my version on it. But this is an awesome use. You can see it looks to be about 2 or 3 of them generally moving, and so that makes it look like the water is ebbing to and fro. Now, the reason that there's no access to the bunker house is because they're using it in a way. I don't know if it was Katya or somebody else that started doing it, but they would put things inside the bunker house and like supersize it so big that it actually popped out and was visible on the exterior. And that's how a lot of the plots that you see where it looks like there's like little mountains and hills in the distance with trees and stuff, it's actually super oversized items, and that's the same case here. I think a lot of these are just, I don't know, weird stones that they've recolored to make it look like these little mountain bits, and they're just huge. Just like this here, I think this is actually a dragon hoard. It's a pile of gold. They might have recolored it so it's not a shiny gold, but I think it's like a really big one, and so it looks like this little island-et kind of thing. But what an awesome way to do it. I just think it's clever, you know. I never tried this technique myself. I had thought about it, but I was like, nah, just leave it to the experts, because it's one of those things. I think it's tricky. In fact, I think they talked about how you kind of had to have two people working in unison, one on the outside to say, hey, yeah, I can see that thing and it's positioned good, and someone inside manipulating it. But I don't really know if that's how it had to work, or if you could do it by yourself or whatever. But to me, I think it would take a lot of finagling and trial and error to get it to work just right. Again, I don't know what items they're using for the stones. It looks like maybe those ones that's on the fence post, and just, or maybe it's some of those. There was like some kind of, we had a little space event where we got like some diorama, the space diorama and the planet thing, and I think there was some, I don't know if it was asteroids or just floating rocks or something. I think that's what these are, but I don't remember the name of them. There was like 2 or 3 different versions, and I think I used them as some kind of mountain things on Grassroots. I think it was by Chua's plot for his desert scene. Excuse me. But as you can see, it's pretty much the entire plot. It's just a lot of water, and then a lot of these like little stone parts, and then you have this custom house on top of the mountain there. So let's go visit the build. Now, I don't know if the way I went up before was the way you're supposed to go up. It kind of looks like it might be. Because there's like this little rampy bit, which I believe is part of the cellar entrance, just because of what this looks like, the way the shape of the bricks is. I don't know if that's actually the case. It could be something else that's just been oversized. Like it could be some white picket fence. That's kind of what this looks like because of the misshapen edging here, but again, I'm not for positive. The railing here looks to be bottle tops with Draken pillars. I honestly can't say what these are. I don't know if that's gingerbread that's being recolored funny, or if it's something else. But I like the look of it. It's like layered tiles of some sort. Just like this part here, the wall part, that's those like dark keyhole windows that's been recolored into some funky brown. This here for the windowing is part of that Osun grating that you get from Arctera, and then I think some of this is the what's it called? The exotic cabinet dresser or what have you. We'll go inside the house in a minute. I'm just gonna keep an eye on some of the things out here. The pillars, honestly, I'm not sure what all this is. It looks like some Macari stuff here. This looks like some of those white picket fence pieces, and then this here looks like the fountain, that one that we saw at the Harry Potter place. It was right side up. This looks like it's upside down, and they're using that as kind of like this little frilly topping. But again, I'm not sure for positive on that. The flooring, oh my, I'm not even sure. I mean, this looks like granite floors here for these diamond bits as part of the decoration, but the actual base of it, I'm not really positive. Again, it reminds me of the picket fence, like the tops or bottoms of them, but I honestly don't know. You see how it's just something about the texture of it reminds me of that piece, and I think that's what they're using all along here, just multiples of those, and like some giant ones for the base here, but I honestly can't say for sure. It's just, I think the texture of it, that's what it reminds me of. Even here, it looks like some of the fencing, and they've just got multiples of them layered up to make the floors. So I'm kind of certain about that, but not quite. I don't want to go all out and say, yes, that's what it is, because I'm probably going to be wrong then, but there you go. A very cute, adorable little day bed here, utilizing some of the exotic decor. I think it's the wall hanging. It could be part of the divider as well. It's just sunk down a certain way. Toilet paper rolls here for the little headrest or pillow part. And then the snow blocks for that part. For the base, I think it's, this is a book. And then I suspect maybe just some walls or something for the bottom part of it. Excuse me. For the tables, it's actually an upside down heart collection side table or a coffee table. I forget. It's the little round one. It's upside down, so you just have the legs, and then on top of that is a plate. Just like this here, this little rug, that's the plate. Just oversized and everything. For the fancy pool, I think it's one of the new waterfalls just because of the animation that's present. For the bit here, I'm honestly not positive on that, but it looks like books or something. I really don't know. And I think this trim around the edge is bookshelves, the Dominion style. Just laid out in a pretty pattern. I'm really not sure about this though. Looks awesome, whatever it is. We got some lounge chairs. It's basically ladders. Picnic table for the base, capped with some 2x4s, and then lined with the tribal mats, the flat versions. Can't forget the little chandeliers here. How awesome do those look? It appears to be a Cassian tall lamp upside down. A heart-themed table lamp. Curved glass for the casing here. And then an upside-down water fountain. And how beautiful is that? It looks like it came that way. It's really not, though. It's multiple pieces. Someone's imagination just popped it out. Continuing on the other side. And just getting another look, some of the exterior. Again, I have no idea what these parts are. Even this, I'm not really sure. The roof, though, is the rain gutters. So it looks almost, what do you call it, Grecian or whatever. I think it's mostly the columns that are giving me that feel. For this chair, books, snow block, toilet paper. It seems weird to say there's toilet paper, but it's a white item, sort of, kind of more like a white gray, but makes for a good pillow. Let's see, let's go inside here. Now, from what they wrote to me, everything in here is custom except for 2 chairs. So let's have a look. Oh boy, there's a lot of stuff to describe here. These here, I think, are fireworks. I think. This here is some of those, I think it's like a gnome dude. The portrait is a couple of those. The little purple things, that's from the Gothic lamp. Orange shelf. There's a lot of use of the exotic decor. The dividers, a table, more dividers for the grating here. Another table for the fireplace encasing. I don't know what fire they're using. It looks like the small campfire, but I can't be sure. It's hard to see. Even the chairs, the orange chairs, just 3 chairs in one. Just smaller versions being used as kind of like the sides or armrests. The coffee table, I think that's the base of the weeping fountain. It's just upside down. A lot of this is guesswork, folks, because I'm certainly not clear here. Now they're using a red cushion bar stool here, I think, to make this functional, but it looks like yellow pillows that have been turned pink and rolled up sleeping bags for the sides and backing, and then an exotic bench kind of inset in there just to kind of give it a little similar look to everything else. Trying to see what's here. Looks like maybe they're trying to do like, pretend this is like cross stitching maybe. So you've got like the thread and a knife or scissors or something, and then the little hoogle thing. I really don't know what that's supposed to represent. But again, I think this is an exotic decor piece that's just been inset in there. The grandfather clock, very elaborate, very pretty, matches well because they're using a lot of, again, the exotic decor to kind of dress it up. You can see they're using the drake and gong or the weights or whatever. A little bit of like the orange shelf here. The handles, honestly, I'm not sure what those are. It looks like something taurine piece, but I'm not sure on that. Another orange shelf. Down here, I think that's the base of one of the bars. Awesome looking though. It just fits really well. Moving on. Again, the Dominion bookshelves. They've got that as lining all of this wall treatment and doorway. trimmings. This here, again, I'm not really sure. It's familiar because I'm pretty sure I used it once for a game thing, but I can't remember what that item was. So I'm hesitant to say. This little bit here is those tribal mats. And again, you can see some of that dark keyhole window stuff going on for the doorways. Fencing for these iron gratings. Cylinders for these columns with I think it's the fancy Dominion dresser for the tops. For the bases, I think it's the vase from the exotic decor set and maybe another ichthyum piece or something for that. Maybe the water fountain as well on those, like a combination of the two. Here with the little stripes, it's basically two different colors of pillar or cylinder, and they just twisted it a little bit, offset it so that it shows up the stripes. It was a real fave thing for those that wanted to make just a weird little pattern for not only the cylinders, but you can do it with the domes as well to make them look striped, like striped domes or striped balls, depending on how you put them together. Just a lot of detail, trimmings and everything. Here we have a waterfall feature. Again, it's one of the newer versions. Here you have reminiscent of the chandelier outside, but this one they've added little triangle or diamond shaped decorations, and I think it's those screens. That's why it's got a little bit of animation to it. Chairs similar to what we saw before. This part, honestly, I'm not sure what that is. That's lining here, but this down here, this little design, that's again the bookshelves on top of, I'm not certain. This little crosshatch thing, again, it's that item, I think it's the back of one of the portraits, but I can't be positive. And then they just laid that on top. There's so much going on here. It's crazy, people. Look at that. It's just all the work put together to make this flooring so outrageous looking. Again, the water I think is Waterfall, the newer version, because of the animation that comes with it. The tree is just a bunch of I think it's called tall finger flower. There's just a bunch of them that kind of make it look like a cherry blossom tree. Again, lots of those bookshelves, all of this. And again, it's 2 different or 3 different colored files, and then they just shifted it a little so it looks striped like this. Another file, 2x4s, that grating thing from Ocean Grating from Arctera. For the little trim here, I think that's some of those Winterfest fencing. A lot of incredible detail. Ridiculous. This here, again, they're using a bench inset inside here. I think it's just to make it look like it's usable as a seat. Again, I think it's iron fencing there. Crazy stuff. Just think of the planning and the forethought that had to go into making this design. All of these different patterns and colors and the shapes that they put them in. So here's the other side with its little extra room. The faux doors are the front and back of one of the portraits. I think one is the tree or something along those lines. So it makes it look like a wooden frame around a wooden door. And then I think this is probably the um, magnetized container. I think the end of it has a handle deal. This is that Gothic lamp again. It's actually two lamps attached to a pole kind of thing, a stand. They've just managed to make it look like something else. The table, it looks to be an actual, yeah, it's the Eldon laboratory display. On top of it, they've got a travel poster inset with probably another one that's been color shifted, and then another one back to the normal gray, and then some more inside to give again the green color, or possibly just underset so that it looks, and then with the grading on top, make it look like a little hatchy. This I think is one of the goblets. It's the same here, same item, and they just added the little base and added the flowers in. The chairs are, I forget the name of the sword, but it's some taurine flavored thing. It's two of them together to make the back of the chair, and then the base is the little side table from the Heart Collection set. It's the same thing that was using upside down as the base of some of the tables outside. And then you have this little shelf. It's actually an Oran gate, I think. And then the different plates, it's actual plates. Like this is like the teacup plate. And then they've added in some little gold filigree using the Google portraits. This one is, I don't know what this part, it looks like one of the spaceship parts with the plate inset on top of it. And then this one, I think is the Draken shield thingy with a plate, and then maybe, I don't know, the med kit or something behind it. It's something along those lines, just to make their own little unique plates. The staircase, again, is mostly books, I think, and the bookshelves and the tribal mats. Oh, I stopped myself and then couldn't finish going up. Up, up, up. Tribal mats, carrot rugs, Winterfest fencing there. I think these are the only two chairs that are just standalone. Everything else is custom. Because again, I think this is one of those upside down weeping fountains. Again, lots of the exotic decor. I think the metal grating used a couple of ways to get this different pattern here. And of course the color shifting helps. The exotic decor chest or drawer being used as kind of a bed. Oversized pillows, tribal mats. The shelf here, or cabinet or whatever this is supposed to be. I think it's sandwiched shelf, this thing here, because you can see some of the same markings here, but also the wall hangings. And again, just probably multiples of those. See this, these three drawers, it's these three here, and then like a granite style floor to kind of cover it up. Same way on that side. The vanity table, books, looks like orange fencing. That's the exotic decor stool, bookshelf, flat metal table. I think this is supposed to be like a Fabergé egg. It's basically a couple of the um, heart lamps. I'm not sure what they're using on the inside. I suspect it's maybe a sporty sphere or something being recolored. And then the upside down table, heart themed table for the stand. Here we have a pen and paper. They're using a book, open book, and they've just slanted it down so you only see half of it. So it looks like just some papers with writing on it. And then a Merg explosive, or Merg dynamite, excuse me. And for the envelope with the little seal on it, I think that's a triangle piece, a floor, but slanted a little bit so it looks more like a rectangle instead of a square. And then for that, it's probably either a recolored dome, the flat side of it, or some such. We've seen the chair before. The fireplace is just the bell stove, but then they've tacked on the dividers and the curved wall here to kind of box it in. Look like a nice finished and matching fireplace for this locale. Again, carrot rugs. Tribal mats, those keyhole windows again, and then you got a shot of the above where we saw from the roof before. This appears to be a bathroom. Got the tub, it's books for the floor as well, I think. For the sink, I believe it's books at the base. These are the fancy Orin pillars, I think, the ones that has the green grass on top. Divider, and I think these are the goblets. Bookshelves, and then the backside of a plate, like the metal one or something. The toilet is just a plate and a roll of toilet paper. Simple, just two pieces, but you know what it is. Some of this is Orin gate, and then regular gates with that metal work. I like how the table is doing double time here. There's a little shelf here and a little shelf here, but it's one piece. This here I think is one of the bars. It has like a metal rod on the front, and they're just using it like a towel rack kind of thing going on. This is that tree portrait again. They like that pattern, the texturing of the wood, and then put it in a nice little pattern so it looks nice but not too haphazard or anything. Orin gates, the white fence posts again, bananas for the drapes. They didn't actually use the actual drapes that we have in game. They used bananas. Make it look like fabric. Really nicely done and cleverly done so you don't see the banana stems. For the bed itself, it's display cases, the ones with like has the horns and gems and stuff inside it. For the base, looks like Merg dynamite for the posts. Heart table lamp again. Lots of bananas. I want to say some of this is some of the beach towels, but I'm not sure. It could be something else. But this part is the snow blocks, pillows, tribal mat, the rolled version, and then a ladder, the headboard. Get over there. It won't let me jump up there either. The dresser here is a combination of, this is one dresser, this is one dresser, this is another dresser, and so it's 4 dressers to make one big setup. And then they've added the Dominion style dressers on the ends, recolored some bottles to make it look like different perfumes or something. On the pillows, they have some Cassian lamps. I think it's the wall hanging ones, like the sconces. And they're using them as, I presume, to be like earrings. And then the necklace is a heart pillow. And then I'm not sure what all this is. I think it's some Ichthian stuff to make that like a little necklace part. Cutely done, but yeah. The ottoman or footstool here is a rolled sleeping bag. We've seen the tables using a pan, a frying pan for the candle holder there, and a goblet. And then the fireplace is white picket fence posts and fence pieces, I think, for the top and bottom here. The gold accents are the Hugel portraits, and then of course small campfire. Very nice, nicely done. I'm still impressed with the bananas. Just don't think bananas can sell for that, but it does. Again, similar daybed stuff, the books. The little daybed kind of thing here, there's a lot of Oran gates being used. I like how they've made these. The bigger size they use as windows, but here they've used them as bookshelves. This is just yellow pillows, rolled sleeping bags, carrot rugs, and then here they've created their own version of an old-fashioned record player. Now there's a lot going on here. There's a dresser, there's bookshelves, I think, an actual book, Oran fencing or gate, more books. There's the jukebox, a bench, Dominion bench, the Merv dynamite here. Here is one of those mining antenna thingies. For the record itself, I think it's tires, and then the granite floor. For the shelves, again, it's more Oran gates, 2x4s, and then just multiple book settings. Crazy, amazing stuff. Couple faux doors, just like we saw earlier. So much detail, so much work. So glad we got to see it before it was gone. Very eye-catching. A lot of ideas as far as how they've layered things in, overlapped certain things. Just the design, it's a really pleasant layout. Trying to see if we can get inside there. Just amazing work. Again, it just shows with some imagination, a lot of time, patience, trial and error, you can build just about anything. It's I don't know what else to say besides this was an incredibly crazy, fun outlet for a lot of creative people. I know folks that are more into the actual gaming, like raiding and dungeoning and stuff, often felt that the game uh, lacked a lot in that regard as far as updates and continuation and progression and stuff. But for us builders, there really was no end to it. It only stopped when we decided to stop, because there was always something new that we could try. Uh, some new item that would come out and would trigger an idea. Um, Again, you could build the same stuff over and over and just completely do it differently. I mean, we could build vehicles, and every time we try another vehicle, it'd be just a different uh, combination of items, and you would come up with a different outcome. But really, just the skies were the limit. Yes, we had decor limit, but that was part of the challenge, part of the fun, to me anyway. I know there was lots that would have preferred if we could have had that expanded upon. But I felt that was part of the trick of it. Um, Working within that barrier of 2,500 in, 2,500 out, and still managing to come up with a build that looked like it wasn't 2,500. I imagine without a doubt this plot was probably at its limit, considering all of the pieces that were used to construct this house. So it's no surprise that they went for a more simplistic yet eye-catching landscape for this particular build. But what an amazing effort. And same goes for all the others as well, the Harry Potter one that we visited, and the mansion from Tulios. It's just, again, great examples of just the possibilities, and we're going to miss it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tours from today. I hope that while it's kind of a sad time that we're seeing the last days, weeks of WildStar, that you guys find some comfort in knowing that at least some of the amazing work that was put together has been captured and will remain visible for those that want to reminisce and remember the good old days. So that's it for today, guys. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you take the opportunity that you have now to capture whatever you can, be it screenshots, video, or just writing, your farewell letter to the community or whatever it is. I hope you find alternatives that work for you. Um, and yeah, like I said, we're going to continue with this until we can't. So the plan is we will see you guys next week for another set of tours. I hope you can join us. If not, remember, these videos do go to YouTube. So be sure to drop by there and peruse the hundreds of videos that we have up already. In the meantime, have a great week, a great weekend, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.